and our ulna. Okay, and then when I range into extension, my pressure is not out here on the fingers. Pressure is proximal to the MCPs. Okay, so I'm pushing her back this way into wrist extension. I'm pushing down gently this way into wrist flexion. Again, my pressure is proximal to the MCPs. That's just for wrist flexion and extension. Same thing for radial and ulnar deviation. Just range of motion there, stretching activity. Now, like I started to talk about in class, say now we have tight, long finger extensors, say for lateral epicondylitis. Okay, so then we would need to range across the wrist and the fingers and the elbow, because doesn't extensor carpi radialis longus attach to the supracondylar ridge?
Yes.
Ridge.
Yes, it crosses the elbow. Okay, so I would need elbow extension with wrist flexion and finger flexion. Okay, because they're extensors of the fingers and extensors of the wrist. Okay, so I could do something like this. I could. Okay, but most times you're going to get plenty of lengthening by extending at the elbow and the wrist.
What are you lengthening?
The extensor carpi radialis longus, because it crosses the elbow, crosses the wrist. All right. Likewise, if we had medial epicondylitis, okay, then I could stretch the opposite into wrist, because they're wrist flexors. So I'm going to stretch her into wrist extension. Okay, so that's a normal, intact, neurological person with no other involvement. It's just an orthopedic soft tissue problem. Okay? Now, we touched on this last week, but I think it's going to do good to hear it one more time from Professor Julie about the tenodesis. This is different. This is for a neurologically injured patient for whatever reason, spinal cord, stroke, or whatever.
And it comes in your book under selective tightening, is what they refer to it. They talk about two types of selective tightening. One is for the fingers, and then the low back. And we'll talk a lot about the low back more with our spinal cord injured population. But remember, you can just kind of do this to make sure when in doubt, you are going to not stretch. You're going to come back this way to stretch. You want that selective tightness. So we're not doing the intact. This would be if we're doing more of that, lateral epicondylitis stretch, where you go this way here. That's more for your, you'll see it. This is a neurologically intact patient. If in doubt, you're going to stretch here and here, right?
This is what we were talking about in lecture. You're all with her, right? You understand the difference.
Okay. But you need to feel y'all are neurologically intact, so you need to feel how good this feels. If you guys play tennis or any kind of those new moms, who are carrying those baby carriers all the time, give themselves bad lateral epicondylitis, and they're constantly doing this. So this is a stretch that you've really got to feel and be able to teach and
So I just want to make sure you guys understood, as I emphasized in class, that you can stretch across all joints for an orthopedic reason. But if it was a neurological reason, that's why you want to preserve the tenodesis. Does it make sense? All right, so let's do the wrist. Let's go through that. Fingers.